Wow. This speech I just heard from Mitch McConnell, which came after my initial reaction video to President Trump being acquitted. Mitch McConnell gave a speech, right, that I didn't see before I did the video, in which he basically confirms my theory in the last video, which is that the Republican Party thinks Trump is done. Okay, like don't get it twisted. I mean, they voted to acquit, but they do not think that Trump has a future, like an actual elected representative future in the party. And they're really trying to ride this fine line, right? Of where they're trying to say, we're not really getting rid of him, but we're going to get rid of him. And it's a soft landing, and they're trying to finesse it. And McConnell is the one that is steering the ship, guys. I mean, he came out after the 6th, he kept putting out stories about, oh, well, I'm leaning towards convicting. I don't know, this, that, and the other. And then when it finally came down to it, he basically gives the excuse, I voted to acquit because I don't feel like the trial is constitutional. And he feels like the trial is not constitutional because President Trump is not actually in office. Okay? He had the power to actually convict the president if he actually wanted to, by calling the Senate back early before President Trump was out of office to try to get it done. So what that basically means is that this is strictly a political calculation. The vote in and of itself does not reflect how the Republicans feel about Trump. It's really a political calculation in which McConnell is going to take most of the brunt. I mean, he's on his way out the door. He's basically saving face for literally the rest of the party. And the other Republicans that really just don't care, like Romney, Ben Sasse, Lisa Murkowski, they're just kind of doing their own thing. But he's trying to save face for everybody else. He basically says Trump has been acquitted, but this is not over. And he strongly implies that Trump is going to have to deal with the criminal justice system, which ultimately could be what the Republicans are hoping happens, which, again, this is a stunning admission here from Mitch McConnell. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let you guys hear it straight from the horse's mouth. The first thing he's going to talk about is the reason why he voted to acquit, and then he's going to go into the rest of it. Let's take a listen.
Donald Trump's no longer the president. Likewise, the provision states that officers subject to impeachment and conviction shall be removed from office if convicted. Shall be removed from office if convicted. As Justice Story explained, the Senate, upon conviction, is bound in all cases to enter a judgment of removal from office. Removal is mandatory upon conviction. Clearly, he explained, that mandatory sentence cannot be applied to someone who's left office. The entire process revolves around removal. If removal becomes impossible, conviction becomes insensible. Counterintuitive that an office holder can elude Senate conviction by resignation or expiration of term, an argument we heard made by the managers. But this underscores that impeachment was never meant to be the final forum for American justice. Never meant to be the final forum for American justice. Impeachment, conviction, and removal are a specific intra-governmental safety valve. It is not the criminal justice system where individual accountability is the paramount goal. Indeed, Justice Story specifically reminded that while former officials were not eligible for impeachment or conviction, they were, and this is extremely important, still liable to be tried and punished in the ordinary tribunals of justice. Put another way, In the language of today, President Trump is still liable for everything he did while he was in office as an ordinary citizen. Unless the statute of limitations is run, still liable for everything he did while he's in office. Didn't get away with anything yet. We have a criminal justice system in this country. We have civil litigation. And former presidents are not immune from being accountable by either one. I believe the Senate was right not to grab power the Constitution doesn't give us. And the Senate was right not to entertain some light-speed sham process to try to outrun the loss of jurisdiction. It took both sides more than a week just to produce their pretrial briefs. Speaker Pelosi's own scheduling decisions conceded what President Biden publicly confirmed: a Senate verdict before Inauguration Day was never possible.
All right. So, guys, that's straight from the horse's mouth. What McConnell was saying is that we would have voted to convict Trump. However, we don't want to overstep our boundaries of the Constitution because we still have a criminal justice system that President Trump, as a private citizen, is still subject to punishment from. That is what he's saying in no uncertain terms. Okay, and this kind of reminds me kind of how the Republicans, when they had a chance to get rid of Obamacare, I think back in 2017, 2018, and they just didn't do it, right? They just couldn't get it done through legislator. And then they tried to take it to the Supreme Court and get the Supreme Court to do something that they didn't want to do because they didn't want to take the hit from getting rid of it. This is kind of the same thing in the sense that McConnell is basically saying, listen, we think he's guilty, right? Like before all this, just to add more context, he basically went over everything that happened. And he's saying, it's Trump's fault. That's what McConnell's saying. Now, despite him saying that he thinks it's Trump's fault, he's saying, well, it's not our responsibility to do anything about it, right? It's the criminal justice system job. So, guys, this is a big, big deal because this, to me, is McConnell telling people this is what the Republican out is. And he's covering for the whole Republican Party. This is the leader of the Republican Party saying this, guys. So what that basically means is that this thing is not over, right? To a certain extent. It's kind of like what I hinted at before when Nikki Haley said that she didn't think Trump was running in 2024. This stuff is calculated. They don't think Trump is running for a reason. They have no plans. I'm going to tell you, I mean, reading that piece about Nikki Haley, listening to this, seeing this stuff unfold, I really believe that the GOP is really going to try to distance themselves from Trump moving forward here. And I think that is the actual plan. And I think that what they're trying to do is that they're not trying to come out outright and do it. They're trying to do it through a process that's more covert, right? Where they can technically say, well, we didn't do it. They did it. Do you know what I'm saying? But we're not going to try to stop it. We're not going to stand against it. So this is a political calculation in which McConnell is doing this because he's trying to, protect some of the base. He's not trying to go all in against Trump, but he's also trying to save face for corporations, right? He's trying to essentially right the ship here without going into a complete shipwreck. Okay, that's what McConnell is trying to do. And that's basically the political game going on. I was shocked to hear this. I was absolutely shocked. So I want to make sure that I did a video on this because this is probably the most important aspect of this whole impeachment. What Mitch McConnell just stated is very significant. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.